Well, my name is Kriss Rokkan Iversen, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Tromsø in Norway. And I'm working on something called the microbial loop in Arctic marine water masses, which is kind of high-tech biology, but it's a food chain based on bacteria that small animals graze on, and then they go back into the classic food chain with fish and all that. And it's really important to have knowledge about this because we don't know how it affects the carbon flux in the water, which is of course linked to the carbon in the atmosphere and climate change. I'm born at 65 degrees north and I lived the whole of my life in the Arctic, more or less. And I grew up with the polar night and midnight sun and all that, and I think I just had this urge in me to get north, north, north. I have to go further north. And the first time I finally went to Svalbard in the European Arctic, I just got, I don't know, I got really taken away by the Arctic scenery and all of that. And I really just wanted to know as much as possible about it and just be there and be able to protect it for the future generations. Learn to respect the amount of work behind all the small data points that you see in a graph or something, because working in the Arctic can be really hard. For instance, I did my field work in Kongsfjorden, a fjord at Svalbard, and we were there in March 2006, and we were expecting ice on the fjord, but the ice hasn't been there for the last 2 years. It's probably because of climate change, and we had 10 days to be there, and it's really expensive. You have to send everything in like good advance in time, and everything is really hard to do logistically. And we had 10 days. We were waiting and waiting and waiting to get out on the fjord, but we had like 20 minus, so we couldn't go out on the fjord. And we were waiting and waiting and waiting. It was like snow everywhere and polar bears you couldn't see, and we were really both scared and excited about that. And then finally one morning we woke up and it was only 10 minus and we could go out, and it was like really calm on the fjord, and just this feeling of being in this pristine nature. Well, doing fieldwork in the Arctic is always exciting, even though I've done it loads of times now. I have met polar bears on several occasions, and one time we were on this boat cruising around Svalbard in beautiful weather, and it was fantastic, and we were laying the ship against this big ice floe, and we had this really chubby, happy polar bear coming to visit us, and he was just curious. He didn't want to eat us, at least that's what we tell ourselves. And he was just sitting around outside the ship, like taking his claws and like puncturing this orange buoy that we used to mark the poles that we had outside. And then he was just sitting there, and he was really interested in this steel poles, and he was starting to lick on it. And everybody knows what happens if it's cold and you lick on steel. It's not a very good idea. And for us it was like, please don't do that, please don't do that, because the next question of course would be, if the tongue gets stuck, who's going to put on the water, and how fast is that person going to be able to run? So, well, luckily he didn't do that, but it was quite exciting.